Welcome to another Point 5 episode of TMI, where we take a deep dive into our catalog and dust off a secondary feature that we've covered that deserves its own spotlight. In this case, we are going back to episode 52. So if you'd like to listen to the whole episode, that's where we covered Dumbo. But right now, let's talk Mars Attacks.
TMI. Confessionals of the Nerd Con. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerfherder Chandler and Jim Kaiju Baker of the Nerd Con.
We did kind of have to think about what we wanted to pair with Dumbo, because Dumbo is kind of unique in the Tim Burton canon. And Dumbo really has its, even though it's got that Burton flavor, it really is its own thing. So it was difficult to try to find a natural match in the rest of the Burton oeuvre. Oh, I love to say that word.
Oeuvre. Ooh. You should get that looked at.
So we just kind of came up with, okay, what did we want to watch?
Right. There's a point where you're just like,
I haven't seen Mars Attacks in quite some time. Mike's never seen Mars Attacks. To this day.
I still hasn't seen Mars Attacks. Well, I've seen it. I just haven't heard it.
And Jeff, now what's your history with Mars Attacks?
I knew of it. I've seen it multiple times. But
did you see it in the theater when it was released?
No, I did not see it in the theater.
Now, again, we brought this up last week. This came out 1996, the tail end of 1996. So it was a good probably 5 months after Independence Day was released.
Yeah, I was going to say Independence Day.
It got unfavorably compared to Independence Day. It's apples and oranges. It's two completely different movies, even though the premise is the same, aliens taking over the Earth. I read something, Tim Burton gave an interview at the time. He said, this is like the Mad Magazine version of Independence Day, which is true.
It is very apropos. And this is based on the 1950s Topps trading card set that came out.
It is, which I wasn't familiar with at all because they were banned back in 62.
And they're actually really sought after, highly valuable on the secondary market.
So the script was made around the storyline of these cards, which apparently, I didn't get a chance to really look at the cards up close. I just looked at some of the artwork before we recorded. But apparently it was a set of 55 or so cards.
Something like that.
The story of a Martian invasion and an exploratory team from Earth that goes to Mars after they find out what their weakness is to destroy them at their core, at their base. And apparently the card series featured some graphic gore, implied sex.
A lot of graphic gore, yeah. Yeah, that's why they were banned. They were
torture, parents.
They were pretty racy, and they were all illustrated, gorgeously illustrated. And what he did was, I guess once he decided that Warner Brothers went out and got the license to make this movie. He went and pitched it. And there was two series. There was Mars Attacks, and I think that there was Dinosaurs Attacks. And he was hemming and hawing on which way to go with it. And then when Jurassic Park came out, he's like, all right, well, I can't go down the dinosaur road. So he went down the alien invasion road. And then, of course, he rode his coattails of Independence Day, which was a little too late. He literally took those cards and just kind of threw them on the floor, picked out visuals that he thought were cool, and then just incorporated them into the storyline. So you got the giant robots. You got, your guys getting not even eviscerated. They're atomized, and nothing's left but skeletons.
But blood-covered skeletons. Sometimes green-covered skeletons.
Sometimes green, sometimes red. Which I guess make a cameo in Beetlejuice at the end when they're in the DMV, for lack of a better term. The two main characters, Gina Davis and I guess there's a green and a red skeleton in the background.
So Beetlejuice is the source of quite a bit of Tim Burton's imagination then.
Tim Burton is very, well, we'll get into that as well.
So originally he meant this to look chintzy. He did not want the special effects to be state-of-the-art. He wanted the aliens to look kind of cheap, and he wanted to go with a classic stop-motion effect to begin with, but he figured that was, once they tried it, it was too cost-prohibitive and lengthy a process. So they went with CGI instead. It does kind of smack of that early 90s CGI, which is not really as, I want to be kind here. Yeah,
it's dated. It's dated, but because it is kind of, a lot of his movies are kind of timeless in the sense that you don't really get a sense of, okay, this is taking place in the 90s. We know Dumbo is straight up a period piece.
Right.
Even though, like you said, there's very steampunky kind of futuristic stuff going on there. So, but yeah, this was made to look like a cheap B movie. And so I guess that kind of, the cheesy animation of the Martians plays into that a little bit. I mean, it's a weird movie because it's a bad movie, but you can't look away from it. I border on saying that this was, I can't decide if it's awful or if it's brilliant.
I know.
To be honest with you.
I'm in the same boat, actually.
Yeah.
Now, this, you could tell it was very much inspired by all those Irwin Allen movies of the early 70s, the disaster movie, your Poseidon Adventure, your Towering Inferno, because those had a cast of characters like 30 characters deep. And they were all big stars, right? And
this has a ridiculous amount of big name stars.
And I read that they were going to go with 60 main characters, and then they had to pare it down to 23, which is what they came out with in Mars Attacks here.
And Jack Nicholson plays 2 characters.
He does. And I was really hoping that those 2 characters would meet at some point, but it did not happen.
That would have been a monster budget issue right there. You would have been, I can't do that.
But Jack Nicholson plays one of his characters is the president. Bill Pullman's counterpart from Independence Day. This is a very dark movie in itself, even though it's funny and it's more of a comedic thing, but the aliens just kill relentlessly. And you never really know with the ack, what they're saying. Think is the human's translator device does not.
Well, that's a running joke, right? Yeah. Which is they come down and they're all, the guy's got the translator. He's fighting with it. And we come in peace. And the guy, they come in peace. And he releases a dove.
The funniest scene in the movie, I think, to me, is that hippie guy. They come in peace and releases the dove.
He releases the dove. And that's a cheesy animation. That the dove's flying over the crowd. And he just pulls out a weapon and shoots it and then just starts annihilating.
So the big question is, were their intentions peaceful until that dove made an appearance? Who knows?
You don't know. Were they coming down here purposely to just destroy us? Why even bother getting out of your ship then?
And then it's funny, they send out a message per the translator that they're very remorseful what happened out in the desert.
Right, so let's have a second meeting.
Let's address Congress. And so it's funny, the Martian ambassador whips out what you think is a gun, but it's like a ticker tape where it's his speech written down. And so he's like, and then the gun comes out immediately and then he destroys Congress.
And then the old lady is like, they killed Congress. But like you said, there's just a ridiculous amount of people in this movie, Pierce. And some of them just, a split second. Like if I didn't see Christina Applegate's name in the credits.
Yeah, I didn't catch her in the movie at all.
No, she's Jack Black's girlfriend or sister.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah, and she's in one scene. And even Jack Black, this has got to be like his first movie. He's pretty young looking.
With the short hair, the girth not there, yeah.
Natalie Portman, this was pre-professional. No.
Professional was 94. So she was younger in the Professional.
Oh, yeah, 96. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But her acting in this is not much different than Princess Amidala.
Makes you wonder.
Most likely, George Lucas is like, I want her for Phantom Menace. That wooden delivery, I need that in Phantom Menace.
Danny DeVito's in it. Not for very long.
Not for very long. No. Pam Grier is in it.
Pam Grier is in it. You got Paul Winfield.
Tom Jones
kills it. I'll tell you, I dragged my wife to a Tom Jones concert, and it is still one of the greatest things I've ever been.
That also is a highlight. The very end with Tom Jones, the animals just flocking to him at the end.
He's badass. He's absolutely badass in this movie. Tom Jones. You can't tell me that Tom Jones is not the coolest person on the planet.
Did you already hit Sarah Jessica Parker? Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Tom Jones. You said Tom Jones, Martin Short, who was in our movie last week.
Yes, he was.
And he plays a little, hey, ladies. Like
Lisa Marie. Tim Burton.
Lisa Marie. She was in. She plays the alien female.
Right, but is it really an alien female? Is it just an alien male dressed up in drag?
Yeah, that's because they all look male. So, yeah. Anyways, Rod Steiger.
Yes, as the warmonger, right?
Yeah, he was probably one of the more well-established actors. Pierce Brosnan.
who was just coming off of Goldeneye, so he was probably one of the big box office draws of this movie at the time.
Yeah, he's got a little more screen time. Between him and Sarah Jessica Parker, they got a little more screen time than some of these other people.
Yeah.
There's a guy, Orlando Jones. Was that Orlando Jones just using a weird first name?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that was. Jim Brown, he's got a running storyline. Joe Don Baker, and then the other kid is Lucas Haas.
Yes, posse member of Leo DiCaprio back in the 90s. I think that was his claim to fame.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, just a ridiculous amount of big name stars. And some of them are just a throwaway.
Yeah, and the movie kind of in itself is throwaway as well. It does not take itself seriously one iota from the get-go. It's just it's totally a goof. It's like a Mystery Science Theater episode without the bottom.
Yeah. I think that their floating heads in the jars predated Futurama. You got the giant robots. It's got a very Doctor Strangelove vibe to it in certain scenes, especially when you're talking with the government and the big screens and all the guys sitting around the table. And at one point, after the first attack, and Jack Nicholson kills it as the president, and I can't even do him justice, but he goes on TV and he says, I just want people to know they still have 2 out of the 3 branches of government working for them, and that ain't bad. And I'm like, thumbs up, Prez. Thank you.
I love the impassioned speech he gives at the end to the Martian ambassador, where it's just movie cliches that he's throwing at him.
And I have no recollection whatsoever of that opening sequence where the kids
the cows on fire.
With the cows running down, on fire, which looks so bad. Is that a barbecue? You smell barbecue? And then you just see this giant stampede of cows aflame.
So as we were discussing before, I'm not sure if I liked this or not. It was fun to watch, and the aliens were cheesy in a very entertaining, fun way.
They are, right. And it's fun to kind of...
But it really is just a mishmash of all these characters kind of like together in this movie. And it's the build-up takes a very long time to get to the actual attack. So I think there could have been at least 15 minutes cut out of the beginning of this movie so we could get to the good stuff.
Just get to the good stuff. Well, you establish all these characters, but you're right. And half of them don't even interact with each other.
Yeah, it's true.
So... they all got their own little storyline. Some of them going absolutely nowhere. And
lots of them are killed just immediately, like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He also lost a hand. What's up with Burton and losing limbs? It's a theme for the week.
It is a theme for the week. So, yeah, I'm not sure about buckets for Mars Attacks.
Yeah, it's a weird animal for sure because it is so unique and it's such I haven't seen it in a while, but I tend to think that if I was flipping channels and I came across it, I'd probably watch it just because it is nonsensical and it's brainless. Yeah,
it's just one of those movies where if you're flipping channels, as you said, you got nothing better to do, and then you're just sit there, you get sucked into it. Then at the end of it, like I just wasted it, and I could
right.
I could have vacuumed the living room.
I was watching it the other night, and my wife's friend came in, and she walked, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "It's Mars Attacks," and she looks at me like I have 3 heads. I'm like, all right, well,
yeah, it's one of these cases where the memory of it is better than what the actual movie is. I think I was more excited to see it than I actually was watching it here.
Well, we cross it off our list.
And Mike, if Mike didn't know any better, he would have thought that this had no dialogue at all, this movie, because this is an old, I don't think they've ever remastered this thing, so I don't know if it even exists on Blu-ray or not, but we frequent our local libraries to get these DVDs. And my copy of Mars Attacks, as probably was Mike's, is probably from the dawn of DVDs in the late 90s. It's one of those where it has a double-sided disc, widescreen on one side,
or the
full screen on the other. Yeah. And as soon as I put it in, the movie starts, no menu, right? It just starts. There was no dialogue for me in the first 5 minutes of the movie. It was just the music, like the scene with the cows running down on fire. The characters are saying stuff, but I didn't hear anything. And so then I finally figured a way to get to the menu, and I realized that the default was music track only.
Which is weird that you even have that option.
Yeah. And
Are there that many musical soundtrack people out there that are like, I just want to watch the soundtrack?
So Mike, the same thing happened to him. But he thought it was the movie. He thought it was the whole thing.
He thought it was a silent movie from Mel Brooks.
Yeah. And I could not get to the top. Well, I finally said, this is just ridiculous, after The Martians land, which has got to be like 40 minutes into the movie. And so I go to YouTube and I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. And I'm like, well, there's sound on this YouTube thing. And then I spent like 10 minutes trying to get to the top menu, and it would just keep replaying from the beginning.
So there's a point where you're just like, I that's it. I'm done.
That's it. Yeah, that was it.
It's Danny Elfman. He got his hands into the mastering process somehow. And he made that the default. Yeah, buckets. I don't know. I wouldn't even give it 3. I don't think.
I was leaning at least toward 3 because I gotta be. It's unique. It's original. It's, we just got done talking about, why are more studios not coming out with original content? And yeah, it's based on an obscure trading card from the 50s, but it is its own thing. So you got to give it
kudos for Warner's to actually, getting on board with this.
And I don't know, did it make money? Was it even?
It did make back its budget. It cost $70 million to make before advertising. Box office, it did $101 million, so I think it probably just broke even.
In Martianese, that's.
I'm going to go 2 3/4 buckets. 2 3/4.
You're full of the 3/4.
I am.
Yeah, I'm going with 0.
The soundtrack didn't sway you, huh?
No, it did not.
No, poor Danny Elfman.
So what do you got? How many buckets, Jeff? 3?
I'll give it 3, just for the sheer novelty of it.
So looking back, do you think there's a Tim Burton movie we should have covered in its place?
Beetlejuice immediately jumps to my mind because we've mentioned it like 5 times in here. And I think it's more true to what we think of as a Tim Burton movie.
I think you're right. So that leads to our confessional, actually.
Confessionals.
What is your favorite Tim Burton movie? So, Jeff, would you go Beetlejuice as your favorite?
No, I want to hear Mike since we haven't heard from Mike at all.
I would actually go with Beetlejuice.
There you go. Which is actually 31 this year. 31 years ago, Beetlejuice came out.
What came out first? Was it Edward Scissorhands or was it Beetlejuice?
No, I think Beetlejuice was 88.
Yeah, Scissorhands was 90.
90,
yep.
Yeah.
It just has that best ending in the world, where he's waiting in that... the room of the.
I want to call it the DMV. It's like the DM Department of Dead or something.
Yeah, and his head gets shrunk by like the voodoo doctor.
Which is also Michael Keaton. If anyone has never seen Beetlejuice, and I will tell you, I just saw on Facebook somebody had posted 2 pictures from Facebook or from Beetlejuice, and in the comments section somebody wrote, "What movie?" And I'm just like, oh, if I can, like, really? Come on. So, I didn't mean to step on your...
No,
the question is Beetlejuice more a Tim Burton movie or a Michael Keaton movie?
Ooh, Tim Burton.
It is a nice pairing because Michael Keaton up to that point, because he didn't do Batman until 89. So this was pre-Batman.
It was.
And what did we have? Mr. Mom before that? Night Shift?
Both good movies.
Yeah, but he's Johnny Dangerously, so he's always kind of played that kind of plucky... That's why I think in Dumbo, it was kind of fun and refreshing to see him as a bad guy. Although I will say, Spider-Man: Homecoming, he killed.
I know the Vulture.
He absolutely killed it as that character. And I don't think they ever refer to him as the Vulture in that movie. I mean, you can't do any better than the Banana Boat Calypso song, where he possesses the family as they're sitting around the table and all the shrimp come to life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the movie everyone thinks of when they think of Tim Burton.
Yeah, it is. It is probably, a standard that he either lives up to or down to, except for those people who don't know what it is, which just blows my mind. But again, 30 years ago, I mean, whole generations of people have come and gone. But that's a movie we grew up with. I saw it in the theater. Did you see it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater.
Yeah,
I don't think I did. So it was an HBO for me.
As a matter of fact, I think it may have been like there's a scene where he's trying to get Winona Ryder's character Lydia to say his name for the 3rd time. Oh no, I'm sorry, Gina Davis's character say his name for the 3rd time, and he's trapped in their little model.
Yeah,
and he kicks over the tree, and then he goes, "Knight of a model," and he grabs his cross, honk honk, and it's just so. It is so cartoony, and it is so unlike anything I had seen up to that point. So yeah, that's a great movie. We should have watched.
We should have, yeah.
What a shoulda. Oh, well.
So
You want me to go next, Jim, or you want to go? Go ahead.
I'll go next. I'll go next. It's on the tip of my tongue, so let me blurt it out. I'm going to say Nightmare Before Christmas.
Now, he did not direct that.
He did not. That was Henry Selick, but he did produce it, and it's based on his story, his original poem.
Yeah, and like I said, probably 90% of those characters came from his sketchbook.
Yeah.
That he carries with him.
And talk about being steeped in the world of Burton. Even though it is directed by Henry Selick, it is so 100% a Tim Burton movie.
Or is it a Danny Elfman movie?
Yes, that's the music there.
Danny Elfman does all the songs for Jack Skellington.
And that's the just a perennial viewing experience between October and December in my household. And every time I watch this thing, I see something different in the background.
That's another one I saw in the theater and was blown away by it. That's all stop motion too.
It's completely, when you look at the bonus features on the DVD about how they did that and just creating all the different faces for all the different expressions on just one of the characters.
Yep.
Just the craft that goes into that and the amount of time just blows my mind just to watch that, knowing how many people have their hands on these figures and just patiently moving them in just a milliliter just to get that movement. Yeah. And especially if there's more than one thing moving on the screen, it just blows my mind how they can keep track of that. Keep track
of it all. Right, because it's not like a computer where you build it out and you animate it and then you run it back and you're like, oh, that's got a glitch right there. I mean, how many outtakes are there where a head falls off or something or a shadow? I mean, everything's got to be perfect when you shoot. And that's a precursor to like Kubo and the Two Strings. This really, it's a lost art form, but you got that Studio Leica, which is really kind of, keeping it alive.
And I've got a personal story to relate about Tim Burton and Nightmare Before Christmas. We're local to the Hudson Valley, New York. Well, Mike is based in Connecticut, but we're local to the Hudson Valley, New York. And Tim Burton did some work on Nightmare Before Christmas at Vassar College, from what I understand, in Poughkeepsie, New York. And at the time, in the early 90s, when they were working on this movie before it came out, I was working at a bookstore in the Poughkeepsie Galleria Mall. Ooh. And it was a slow weekday, right? So I'm sitting there behind the counter, and who walks in but Tim Burton?
No way.
Marie.
Was she in her alien costume?
She was not. No, she did not glide in. Without. But it was undoubtedly them.
Really?
At first, I thought
he's unmistakable.
He is unmistakable. It was either Robert Smith or Tim Burton.
The Cure was touring at the time.
The Cure was touring at the time.
They were playing. And you were probably losing your freaking mind.
I was, and I did not have the courage to walk up to them. They didn't buy anything, so they left the store. I'm going on break. I followed them.
You started.
Nobody else seemed to realize who that was, and
they were just wandering.
They were just randomly walking around through the food court, through some of the clothing stores, and.
So this is how normal people live.
I kept a respectable distance, but
and that restraining order is still in effect, right?
Were you spotted?
I was not spotted. No,
and there was he had no security guards. There was nothing.
No.
Nothing.
I had no concept of what I would say to him if I approached him, so I just kept the distance and watched him as they left the mall.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that because I just saw this morning that A-Rod and who's his new wife?
A-Rod, J-Lo.
J-Lo. Is it J-Lo? Yeah, that they were spotted at some Hudson Valley mall, and I'm sure that there was a mob. So it's like, cult of personality. Meanwhile, you got a genius like Tim Burton walking around. Nobody cares. All right, so here's the cool thing, which is all three of us have a different movie. Because I went with this first. Not Frankenweenie. I went with Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Wow.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure just blew me away. This was pre-college. It was 85, so it was probably the summer before I went off to college. And it's a movie that I'm sure that 3/4 of the people I was with did not appreciate it for what it was, but it's just become an indelible romp for me. It's a great movie. So many memorable lines. And the same thing with Beetlejuice. And even Nightmare Before Christmas, it is a great, great movie. But I went with Pee-wee.
Yeah. And that's, again, two huge creative forces colliding there, Paul Rubens and Tim Burton.
And he was at the height. I mean, Pee-wee's, listen, I watch Pee-wee's Playhouse every week. And whatever that word of the day was, you had to scream.
Which was great and inventive in itself. Again, ask yourself, how much of this movie is Tim and how much of this movie is Paul Rubens?
Yeah.
And it's just a mix of both.
So here's the takeaway, which is our 3 top Tim Burton movies are when he's paired up with another, you want to say a like-minded creative force, when it's not necessarily, and I know that Johnny Depp has become his really, we talked about his muses. Johnny Depp is pretty synonymous with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
They've been in how many movies together?
And he's the constant, I think. A lot of actors come and go, but Johnny
Depp. There's a point where, all right, find someone new.
Yeah. At least he wasn't in Dumbo, right?
He was not in Dumbo.
Yeah.
He was not.
Could you see him as Holt in Dumbo?
No.
I really
no,
couldn't.
It would be a completely different movie.
He'd probably have fake teeth and a wig, and
right. And it's not, it's not about you. All right, so there you go. We could definitely mine the Burton universe again.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to find out one day if all these were connected. That'd be great.
It would.
Like they're in a shared universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burtonverse.
If Beetlejuice and Batman showed up together, yeah, that would.
Worlds collide. Hey, you look like a bat. Hold my finger.
So, gentlemen, this is it. The end of the first season.
We survived season 1. Our listeners survived season 1. Kudos to you. We just sit here behind the microphone making jokes. You're the ones that have to endure it week in and week out.
And you're the ones that somehow found us week in and week out.
Maybe they're trapped on a spaceship somewhere being forced to listen to us.
Perhaps, yeah.
Maybe they have robot friends, making fun of us.
And please, if you listen to us, let us know. Send us an email or something. It's just like sometimes it feels like we're speaking into the great void. So
carrier pigeons. How about carrier pigeons?
So again, our email, tmipodcast2018@gmail.com, tmipodcast2018@gmail.com. Let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, you can also find us on the website. We have a website. It is www.tmiconfessionalspodcast.com.
Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. It does. So, we tried.
I guess all that's left to say is I'll see you next season.
All right, cool.
All right, let's wrap this up.
That's it. Wrap it up in a bow, baby. Season 1 complete. Ciao.
If you like what you just heard, be sure to follow TMI Confessionals of the Nerd Kind on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, or whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Also, be sure to email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads. Just go to tmiconfessionalspodcast.com. All of our links are there. And leave us a 5-star review. See you at the concession stand.